Good evening. This is CTV News for Wednesday, August 5th. I'm Byron Scott.
And I'm Sonia Shrivastava. Thank you for joining us this evening. Our top story, a child is recovering after being left in a hot car at a Montgomery County metro stop this morning. Patricia Vallone is at the scene with this story.
Now, police say a father left his 6-month-old infant son in his car at the Forestville metro station about 7:30 this morning before taking a train and heading into work.
So a little after 10 o'clock Wednesday morning, we received a call for a child locked in a car, which is not all that unusual for us. But when we arrived on the scene with a fire truck at the Forestville Metro, we were flagged down by what turns out to be some grandparents who were also looking for a car. They did find the car. The child was located in the car. Firefighters were able to gain access to the car by breaking out the window. The child was breathing, conscious, had an elevated temperature, may have been dehydrated.
What suggestions would you have if you see something like this?
If you have a car, make sure it's locked so kids don't get in and you get themselves in trouble in that way. Certainly, the second part of that is if you have a child in your car seat or in the car, put something in the back seat as a reminder, your cell phone, a briefcase, your purse, something like that. So when you get to your final destination and you have something, you reach for something you need, and if you've forgotten about the child for whatever reason, you'll realize that they're there. So certainly that's a good idea. And the third thing is, if you see a child unattended in a car, call 911.
Now, police have interviewed the father. The case has now been transferred to Child Protective Services for further investigation. From the Forest Glen Metro Station, I'm Patricia Vallone, CTV News.
Now, 11 children have died so far this year after being left in hot cars, and that's according to NoHeatstroke.org. There were a total of 31 hot car deaths in 2014.
And a chemical explosion in Forestville sends 5 people to the hospital. Latifah has that story.
That's right. You can see that hazmat crews are still on the scene. Officials say that a worker was delivering sodium hypochlorite, which is a very strong version of bleach, to this location when the chemical touched another substance, causing an explosion, sending 5 people to the hospital.
I heard a loud explosion, and then we looked over, and the lady ran out from behind the fence, and she was yelling.
The chemical spill happened shortly after noon in the 8,000 block of Penn Randall Place, put one person in critical condition.
This is a warehouse industrial complex, and a delivery was being made of a heavy-duty bleach by a chemical delivery company. It was a power washing company he was making delivery to. He entered the warehouse and started to pump the product into a 55-gallon container when a very violent chemical reaction occurred, blowing that container apart. The driver, who was standing next to that container, suffered serious leg injuries, including open wounds and thermal burns. Very serious injury, and he has been transported to a burn unit for treatment of those injuries. There were 4 employees of the power washing company inside at the time. They went to his aid, and in doing so came in contact with the chemical. They started feeling some respiratory distress, some lightheadedness, nausea, and as a precaution, we've transported them to an area hospital for treatment.
Lee Madison saw what happened and reacted fast, turning the truck off.
We ran over there. The chemical was still spilling out of the truck, and I ran over to the truck, turned the truck off, and ran around to shut the chemical off. We shut that all off, and then we just stayed to them until the paramedics and fire department got there.
Now, officials say the worker that came in direct contact with the chemical could have third-degree burns, but everybody is expected to be okay. In Forestville, I'm Latifah, CTV News.
And a council member is speaking out against the county executive in the continuing controversy over the new District 7 police station. Rashawn Baker pushing back the opening, saying that there was not enough money in this year's budget. However, Obie Patterson, who represents that area, says the promises that were made to his residents should be kept.
It's a station that we've long been waiting for, more than 4 years. The citizens getting to the point that they don't believe that the promises made by the county executive, he's committed to taking those commitments through, and as a result, we are calling on him to reconsider his decision not to open on time and open the police station on time, fully staffed.
And the county's first African-American female major has been assigned as commander of that station when it opens.
A man remains in critical condition after being shot in Landover early this morning. Police were called to the 6900 block of Hawthorne Street about 12:30 a.m. for a shooting in the parking lot of the Kent Village Townhomes complex. The officers found an adult male suffering from multiple gunshot wounds. Detectives are working to determine a motive and identify suspects in the shooting.
And here's some news for you. According to AAA Mid-Atlantic, traffic stops are the #1 reason people come into contact with police. Now, motorists in Prince George's lead the dubious pack with more than 98,000 traffic stops in 2013. #2 on the list is Baltimore City with 89,000 and Montgomery County with 81,000. AAA points to recent news events highlighting routine traffic stops that turn deadly. John Townsend offers this advice.
The most important thing is to be circumspect and to keep your hands in plain sight so that your movements are not mistaken. Never reach under your seat and never even reach into your glove compartment unless you let the officer know what you're doing first. So if you're going to retrieve some documentation, let's say it's under the seat, well, that immediately is going to arouse suspicion. So tell the officer, my wallet is under my seat, that's where I keep my license or whatever. But you have to be on your P's and Q's.
And AAA says the highest number of traffic stops occur in May. Well, you are watching CTV News. I'm Byron Scott.
That's right. I'm Sonia Srivastava.